All right, so today we are doing, this is actually the last lesson of Unit 1, Lesson 11. So there's no lesson notes, there's no warm-up, so let's go right ahead into the examples. So Tyler has a piece of paper and is sharing it with Elena, Jada, and Noah. He folds and cuts the paper to create 4 equal pieces, then hands one piece each to the others. What fraction of the original piece of paper does each person have? So I always find it helpful to draw a diagram. So I drew a diagram of a rectangle. Okay, usually a piece of paper is rectangular in nature. All right, and it says that he cut it in 4 equal pieces. Okay, and you kept half for himself and then gave one of the 4 pieces to Elena, one to Jada, and one to Noah. So to answer that first question, what fraction of the original piece of paper does each person have? Each person has 1/4, which is, as a decimal, you could either write 1/4 or 0.25. Either way, each person has a fourth of the original piece of paper, a fourth or 25%, or however way you want to look at it. Okay, and Tyler, okay, I'm going to fill this in here. Tyler, we really want to pay attention to. So I'm going to make Tyler's a little darker here for the sake of the next question. Because in the next question, Tyler then takes his remaining paper and does it again. He folds it and cuts it to create 4 equal pieces, then hands one piece each to the others. What fraction of the original piece of paper does each person have now? So Tyler only has this quarter of a piece of paper left, and what they're saying is he takes that and cuts that into quarters. So he keeps a quarter of that to himself and then gives a quarter of that to Elena and then a quarter of that to Jada and then a quarter of that to Noah. Okay, so we want to know how much does each person have now? Okay, well, now Tyler has a quarter of his quarter left. So if you take a quarter and you divide that up into quarters, he now has, and we'll go to Desmos to get the decimal, he now has 1/16 left over. So we will round that to, we'll actually just write that all out. So Tyler has 1/16 of the original piece of paper because he took his quarter and cut that into quarters. So again, the decimal was 0.0625. Now, everyone else is going to be different. Everyone else is going to be different because, for example, Elena is going to have this piece from before as well as this piece. So he's going to have the 1/4 from before plus they're going to have the 1/16. Okay, they're going to have those 2 pieces. So if we go in Desmos now and add that, okay, everybody else is going to have 1/4 plus 1/16. So that's going to be 0.3125. Okay. So to answer that question, what fraction of the original piece of paper does each person have now? Okay. Tyler has that much. Everybody else has that much. Point is, what's happening is that Tyler is having less and less paper, and everyone else is getting more and more paper. Okay. Let's look at the third one. Tyler then takes his remaining paper. So now Tyler is now down. And actually, I'll use a different color this time. No, this isn't going to work. So I'll just stick with black. So now Tyler just has this piece of paper left. Okay, when he cuts, so he has that left. So now he's going to take that and cut that into quarters. Okay, and he's going to keep one piece to himself, one piece to Elena, one piece to Jada, and one piece to Noah. Okay. So now he has a quarter of that piece left. Okay. So now he has that 16th of a piece from before. And he's divided the 16th into quarters. So we need to do some math here. So if we do 16 times 4, so now he has 1/64th. Whoops. 1/64th of the original piece of paper. And as a decimal, we'll go up here. Okay, we'll round that to 0.0156. Okay, notice he has less. He's getting less and less. He went from 0.25 to 0.0625 to 0.0156. Now, what's happening with everyone else? Well, let's look at Elena. Okay, so Elena had okay. We'll look at Elena, but we could look at Jada. We could look at Noah. It would be the same no matter what. Elena had a 4th that she was given initially. Then she was given a 16th. Now she's given a 64th. Okay, as are Jada and as are Noah. So now they have 1/4 plus 1/16 plus 1/64. So we'll round that to 0.3281. Okay. Now, why is that important? Because Elena, Jada, and Noah started with 0.25. Then they went to 0.3125. Then they went to 0.3281. So what's happening to Noah? They're getting more and more paper, and Tyler is getting less and less paper. So to answer this last question right here, what happens after more steps of the same process is what I just said. Tyler is going to keep getting less and less paper, okay, because he's going to keep cutting whatever is left into quarters. And everybody else, Elena, Jada, and Noah, are going to be getting more and more paper. So their decimal, their fraction will increase. Now, this situation right here is probably a little harder, actually is definitely a little harder than something that I would expect you to be able to do on a cool down or on a test item. Let's quickly take a look at the cool down for this lesson, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So this is kind of a similar concept. Lynn spent 80 minutes doing homework on Monday, and then each day from Tuesday through Friday, Lynn spent half as much time doing homework as the day before. Okay. So this you should easily be able to calculate. If you know he did 80 minutes on Monday, then you could figure out he did half as much of that on Tuesday, and then half as much as that on Wednesday, so on and so forth, and then figure out how much time he spent total doing homework Monday through Friday. So in this case, Lynn was doing more and more homework each day, whereas in this particular case, or not more and more. What am I talking about? Lynn was doing less and less homework each day, half as much as the day before. Whereas in this particular case, kind of a similar, Elena, Jada, and Noah were getting more paper, but the amount of paper they were getting each day was decreasing, okay, each time. So they got a fourth initially, then they got a 16th, and then they got a 64th. So the amount of paper they get each try is decreasing, just like the amount of time that Lynn is spending doing homework is decreasing each day. So you should be able to answer this question for your cool down and then turn it into me.